This week, US President Donald Trump hosted Syria's leader Ahmed Al-Sharaa at the White House. Next week, he will host Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Our cover story dissects these seismic shifts taking place in West Asia, or the Middle East, as some call it. In a moment that would have seemed unimaginable just a year ago, Ahmed Al-Sharaa, a man once hunted on the battlefield, branded a terrorist, and even held in an American prison, walked through the gates of the White House. Now, his meeting with President Trump marks a historic shift in Syria-US relations after decades of conflict. But for President Trump, the diplomatic momentum doesn't stop. Expect the US's ties with Saudi Arabia to turn a page too when the kingdom's crown prince Mohammed bin Salman comes calling on Tuesday. Aman Kumar Himanshu reports on a pivotal moment in the geopolitics of the region.
Syria's President Ahmed Al-Sharaa strides into the Oval Office, the first Syrian leader ever to do so since the country's independence in 1946. Ahmed Al-Sharaa, the 43-year-old former Al-Qaeda commander who toppled Bashar al-Assad in December 2024, meets President Trump for the third time this year. Al-Sharaa enters the White House through West Executive Avenue, a less visible and non-ceremonial route, rather than the traditional front driveway where foreign dignitaries are often greeted publicly. After the talks conclude, the Syrian leader briefly greets a throng of supporters gathered outside before getting into his motorcade. The door-closed meeting inside the Oval Office marks a clear shift in Washington, D.C.'s stance towards Damascus. A reset after more than a decade of brutal civil war, crippling sanctions, and years of near total diplomatic isolation.
The leader of Syria earlier. Did you come to any agreements today?
Well, I've had an agreement with him. He's a very strong leader. He comes from a very tough place, and he's a tough guy. I liked him. I get along with him, the new president of Syria. And we'll do everything we can to make Syria successful, because that's part of the Middle East. We have peace now in the Middle East, first time that anyone can remember that ever happening.
Trump and Al-Sharaa met in the month of May this year in Saudi Arabia. A young, attractive guy, tough guy, strong past, very strong past, fighter, is how the US President Donald Trump described Al-Sharaa at the time. It was the first official encounter between the United States and Syria since the year 2000. When the then US President Bill Clinton met with Syrian leader Hafez Assad, the father of Bashar al-Assad. To be sure, this isn't about diplomacy. It's a stunning US pivot. Once carrying a $10 million bounty, Al-Sharaa is now being viewed by the United States as a possible stabilizing figure in the region. In a viral moment, Al-Sharaa was seen playing basketball with US officials. It's a surreal moment for some. Even hard to believe that a man who once fought under the banner of the Al-Qaeda terrorist group is now feted in the White House. Al-Sharaa was sanctioned by the US, the UK and the United Nations Security Council for terrorism. But just days before he was to land in Washington, D.C., all sanctions were lifted. The UNSC on 6 November and the US and UK on the 7th. The outcome of the talks was remarkable. 1. Syria becomes the 90th country to join the US-led global coalition to defeat the Islamic State. 2. The United States extends sanction relief for another 180 days under the Caesar Act. The Caesar Syrian Civilian Protection Act of 2019, also known as the Caesar Act, is the United States legislation that sanctions the former Syrian government, including the former Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, for war crimes against the Syrian population. 3. Talks also covered regional issues, including a potential Syria-Israel security pact. The Trump government has tried to broker a pact between Syria and Israel, which invaded parts of southern Syria after Bashar al-Assad's fall. Israel established military bases and has demanded a demilitarized zone south of Damascus in what Tel Aviv has said is a temporary security measure. But while President Trump is keen to eventually normalize ties between Israel and Syria, Al-Sharaa is aiming first at a security deal, with the condition that Israeli troops withdraw from Syrian territory. Al-Sharaa gave a frank assessment of the talks with Israel in an interview to the Washington Post. He said, "We are engaged in direct negotiations with Israel and we have gone a good distance on the way to reach an agreement. But to reach a final agreement, Israel should withdraw to their pre-December 8 borders." He was critical of Israel's quote-unquote expansionist ambitions. He said Israel occupied the Golan Heights in order to protect Israel, and now they are imposing conditions in the south of Syria in order to protect the Golan Heights. So after a few years, maybe they will occupy the center of Syria in order to protect the south of Syria. They will reach Munich on the pathway. He went on to say that it is difficult for Syria to agree to Israel's demands of demilitarizing the region south of Damascus. This is Syrian territory and Syria should have the freedom of dealing with their own territory, he added for good measure. As for the US, President Donald Trump's interest in Syria go far beyond diplomacy. The United States is preparing to establish a military presence at an airbase in Damascus. The US maintains a majority military presence across the region, with forces in over a dozen countries and ships patrolling regional waters. The new US footprint focuses on countering threats from Iran and its network of allies including Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, and militant groups in Iraq and Syria. Meanwhile, the Syrian people are facing another challenge in the European Union. Years after fleeing war and finding safety in Germany, many Syrian refugees now face an uncertain future as the German government signals that some could be sent back either voluntarily or by force. Germany welcomed more refugees from Syria than any other country during the 2015-2016 crisis under the former Chancellor Angela Merkel. Today, 1.3 million Syrians live in Germany, including 25,000 children born in the country. Now, Chancellor Friedrich Merz and his coalition are calling for the repatriation. Fast forward to 18 November. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS as he's known, arrives for a black-tie White House dinner and talks. It's an equally, if not more important visit. MBS seeks a formal US defense pact, much like President Trump's security guarantee for Qatar or Saudi Arabia's own September deal with nuclear-armed Pakistan. He's also keen to buy the US-made F-35 fighter jets. Reuters news agency reported that Trump government is considering Saudi Arabia's request to buy as many as 48 F-35 fighter jets. The sale would mark a significant policy shift, potentially altering the military balance in the region and testing Washington, D.C.'s definition of maintaining Israel's qualitative military edge. The F-35, built with stealth technology that allows it to evade enemy detection, is considered the world's most advanced fighter jet. Israel has operated the aircraft for nearly a decade, building multiple squadrons, and remains the only country in the region to possess the weapons system. Saudi Arabia is one of the biggest customers for US weapons. During President Trump's visit to Riyadh in May, the US agreed to sell Saudi Arabia an arms package worth $142 billion. In short, MBS is eyeing ironclad security, civil nuclear cooperation, and trade deals. But he's in no hurry to sign up for the Abraham Accords. He insists on Palestinian statehood first. No normalization with Israel without irreversible steps towards a Palestinian state. Remember, in 2020, President Trump had reached deals with the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco to normalize relations with Israel. The Saudi Crown Prince will likely try to lean on President Trump for an explicit and vocal buy-in for the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state. Mohammed bin Salman is not the only one reluctant to sign up for the Abraham Accords. Ahmed Al-Sharaa remains equally skeptical of it.
Mr. President, the White House has said that President Trump would like Syria to join the Abraham Accords.
I believe that this situation in Syria is different from this situation of the countries who went on with the Abrahamic agreement. Syria has borders with Israel, and Israel occupies the Golan Heights since 1967. We are not going to enter into negotiation directly right now. Maybe the United States administration with the President Trump will help us reach this kind of negotiation.
In the interview, Al-Sharaa says that Syria has entered a new era in its ties with the United States. But he's quick to add that cooperation with the US and Israel have their limits. Though the Syria-Israel talks are geared towards a security agreement based on the 1974 disengagement framework, Golan Heights remains off the table for now. So no full peace yet. These back-to-back meetings with Syrian and Saudi leaders signal President Trump's peace through strength stratagem of embracing former foes and striking long-term trade and defense deals. Will it herald a new West Asia or Middle East? Will Donald Trump succeed where others before him have failed? Aman Kumar's report for DD India.